Hello everyone, I'm back, and to give you an update on what we've been doing. All right, so have to use the base of the C6 hatch, and then we have to graft the C2 split window hatch on top of it. Well, there's a lot of extra material we didn't need, so I got my vibrating multi-tool cutter and I cut out what I knew could be cut. So this is what I've cut. This was a lot heavier than I thought it would be. I thought the glass was the majority of the weight, but even with the glass out, I'd say it's probably 50-50. The glass was half the weight and the hatch itself was half the weight. Don't know where they hid the lead in this thing because it's surprisingly heavy, but it's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I cut out those pieces, but honestly, they don't weigh a whole lot. I mean, it's SMC, sheet molding compound. Basically, it looks like plastic. It is heavier than I thought. I mean, I'm gotten so used to working with carbon fiber. If this thing was in carbon fiber, it would weigh nothing. So it is pretty heavy, both of those, but it wasn't, I guess I didn't cut out as much weight as I was hoping. I could trim even another, I left about an inch, inch and a half all the way around to give me something to bond to. Here, I actually, it is real close to the edge. I could have tried to take this off, the red part off, but the amount of effort to do that would be substantial. And I figure, hey, I'll just cut out the excess. So that's what I did. Interesting thing is they put this rectangular piece, U-shaped piece right here across to reinforce this. So if you're ever making something that has a wide spread to it, that's a good idea to reinforce it and make it stronger so you won't have issues with it flexing. Let's see. Oh, and people have warned that if you take the window out of these, that they're not very sturdy and you've got to be careful not to damage them, especially with the shocks that open and close, that hydraulic help you open and close it. They said you could really damage these if you try to do anything with those connected and not having the extra weight and support of the window. All right, so tomorrow we're going to remake the hatch, the split window. We have it made in fiberglass. We're going to remake it in carbon fiber. In fact, we're going to make it out of forged carbon fiber. We're making a mixture of forged carbon and regular carbon, and we're actually going to paint the regular carbon. We've decided to paint it a satin black, so the car will be a combination of those two things. All right, and we're not positive. It'll probably be we already know the spoiler is going to be done and forged. It's done. I'm not going to show it to you now. You've seen it before. I'll show it to you in a little bit. Let's see, the top, we're going to cover it with forged carbon fiber. The rear hatch is going to be forged carbon fiber, and the mirrors are going to be forged carbon fiber. And then the rest will be the satin black. All right, the other thing, so I worked on that. It took a while to cut that out and then a while to cut this. Then I also worked on the mirrors. So I originally made the driver's side mirror and basically cut down the C6 mirrors. Anyone knows me knows I hate the C5, C6 mirrors. I think they're absolutely hideous looking. So I had to do something. So I went in, cut off as much as I thought I could, trimmed it up, and then put a carbon fiber exterior on it. Well, when I got done, it ended up being pretty bulky and wasn't what I was looking for at all. Now, the funny thing is, I went home and compared this to the C8, and it's really not much more bulky than the C8. I mean, like a half an inch maybe in each direction. So when you look at a C8, you don't notice it at first, but if you study those mirrors, they're really bulky mirrors. So anyway, I said, all right, I got no choice. I'm going to have to literally cut the C6 mirror down as much as I possibly can. So that's what I did. So this is what I have now, is a new version. And the way I've been making these is I've been taking foam board and then hot glue, and then I've just been shaping it and building it. And I'll put a couple pieces. You can see where the red is the original C6 mirror, and then the white is, of course, the foam board. And then I used hot glue and sanded and got it shaped as good as I think I can. So now the next thing is to cover this with forged carbon fiber. I'm going to put a couple of layers of regular carbon fiber for strength, and then the last layer will be forged carbon fiber. We've gotten to where we've got that pretty much down. We've been using it on everything. So I think it looks significantly better than either the C6 one, even the C8 one. I think it looks better than it. So you'll see that in the next couple of days when I get done with that. But like I said, the next thing to do is I'll cover this, paint this with epoxy, actually tinted. We're using tinted epoxy for everything. So I'll paint this with tinted epoxy, put on 2 layers of the regular carbon fiber. I already have a piece cut right there that I was going to use on this. This one's gonna have to be completely redone. And then we'll put 2 layers of that on, and then we'll put on the chopped forged carbon fiber. Let's see. So we've got a lot to do ahead. We've got to cover that. We are going to try to finish making the hatch in forged carbon fiber tomorrow. A big ask. We are working on the lower part of the grill here. This is done out of regular carbon fiber that's been tinted. And so we're going to make it forged carbon fiber. We have this door is pretty much done. It's going to be, this is one of those that's going to be painted satin black. So the carbon fiber does not look that great, but this door is almost perfectly flat. So this will be no issue to do the typical bodywork paint. And while we're here, let's go ahead and look at the other stuff that we've got. So here's the lower spoiler. And what we've decided is we're going to go with a satin look. We had it gloss and decided we'd rather go with a satin look to it. So this is literally what it's going to look like. We had a couple of spots that needed repairing, so that's what we're doing now. We filled them in with epoxy, tinted epoxy, and then tomorrow we're just going to sand it and get it to this state. And then the other door is right here, and it looks pretty good. It has some we don't know if these are fish eyes, or I think they're actually bubbles that are covered up while it's curing. And then they pop and leave this because we clean this with every chemical you could possibly think of, and it still does that. I was able to actually get it to pop some of these, but what happened was I was using a heat gun. And what would happen is when I was chasing the bubbles around, to get them off, I was also chasing the tint around. So any place that I put the heat significantly on there, while it was blowing the hot air, it was also blowing the tint powder around. And so I was ending up with circles of black where it had actually blown all of the tint out. So I ended up recoating it with a brush. I didn't add more, I just spread it back out more evenly. And then I said, all right, I'd rather have these bubbles than to have the tint be very uneven. But again, we decided we're going to paint it black, so it doesn't matter. But again, this is an experiment for things to do in the future. Let me see. I believe that's pretty much it. I do have now liquid. It's called alcohol ink that is both pearl and color. I couldn't find pearl tinted the color I wanted. I wanted this deep red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment with it, but we've got to find something that we can experiment with that's not going to be exposed because we want stuff to match. So actually what we decided is we need to redo this fender over here. This fender is still in fiberglass. So we're going to redo it in carbon fiber. When I do it, I'm going to experiment with the alcohol ink and see if we can get the same look with the alcohol ink that we've gotten with the powder, but hopefully the alcohol ink will have a even color as opposed to the powder, which the metallic seems to settle. And so we're hoping that the liquid will disperse in the epoxy and not have the issue with it settling. All right, so we've got a huge day tomorrow. They're all that way, but we're getting to the things that are more difficult. And so we've got no choice. We've got to do them. So that's where we're at. All right, so like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. Be sure and share this. Could use some more audience. And if you don't like what we're doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.